Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Perry here. I appreciate you taking the time to check out this video and this channel. It means a lot to me, you all. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Before we really get started today, I wanted to take a few minutes and honor a legend in the industry who worked really, Lou Eckes, if you guys are familiar from Tropic Marin. Lou, and your family, rest in peace to the family. My prayers and blessings are with you guys. Lou was instrumental in a lot of things that helped to make sense from a biological and even really from a chemistry standpoint. So just a massive shout out to Lou. You had a beautiful way of articulating your point and illustrating it, and you'll be forever missed. We appreciate all that you've done to elevate the hobby. All right, so anyway, so speaking of biological, let's step into that first. As far as that is concerned, still continuing to do Aquaforest ProBioS at a couple of drops a day, as well as the Carbon Source and the NP Pro. Continuing to not use a filter sock and just a sponge in the back that doesn't get cleaned. Goes into the sump, which I allow to be kind of dirty. In there I have a basket with a little bit of live rubble and zeolite media and the protein skimmer, and literally that's it. A sack of carbon sits passively on top of that media basket where the zeolite and the live rock are homed. So that's pretty much it. Now, from that context, you can see there's not a lot of hair algae. That's a great sign. However, if we were to go closer in, which we're not right now, you would see that on the structure itself, there is a ton of bubble algae. Now, the bubble algae continues to sort of dissipate on its own. It's getting white. It's wanting to form into more of a calcareous type of algae. I can tell you totally what's going on is through patience, through the wave you're looking at here that's been created. Nothing is being allowed to sit on the bottom of the floor. Everything is kept completely in suspension. You can literally see that hammer and the way it's lifting down in the bottom left here, and you can see the way it's just, the water's going up. It's like it's from the bottom, and what I have is a power head. If you look at the left side off the left glass, you can see the reflection there, and you can see where that fish is hanging out. You can see that's pushing along the bottom of the 36 inches to one side, and that's pulsing, creating that wave. And then I have just a little Sichi pump over there. It's just a little power head just to create a little energy along the top of the reef. My cross wave, I wasn't liking the way it was working, and the MP 10 stopped working for whatever reason, so I figured, you know what, no problem. I have plenty of pumps laying around, and this is what I created. And since I've done this, I've been really thrilled with the process of what's going on with nutrients and so forth. And so while I'm not testing, and I'll get to chemistry in a minute about testing, and I probably should test a little more often, but before I get lost into that point, the processing of the rock is what's unfolding here. We're seeing the hair algae go away, and that was, the rock was cycling. Despite the corals living, and they're doing well, and you can see the corals are doing pretty darn good considering. It's just the rock had so many nutrients that were locked inside of it, and maybe other stuff that it seems to be that the algae, and if you look at it from a gardening perspective, it really seems to be like sort of working its way out of the rock, and that's bubble algae is mediating whatever is going on and processing out of that rock. The bubble algae is really having a clip at it, right? And so because of that, I know that there's something that's not good going on inside of that rock, because otherwise it would be covered, right? And so over time, what happens is the bacteria dosing continues to grab a hold of more foot space, and just slowly with proper flow, getting everything lifted, no detritus, no other nutrient source leaching areas, despite the rock having plenty. I'm not adding to that. And by not adding to that, over time, it's just slowly peeling away like the hair algae did. I scrubbed the shit out of it, but eventually I got it all worked off. And then I still had one patch remaining, and it's now dying off on its own, and in comes the bubble algae in its place, which is what happened to the rest of the reef. That very right rock on the very right side had hair on it, while everything else is littered with bubble. And again, the bubble is going to come off over time. I already know it. I can see it. The power heads, you know, in the grates alone, I have clumps that I have to remove on a daily basis. What is that telling me? It's telling me that the rock is processing latent nutrients because I'm slowly hedging at bacteria overtaking the nutrients in the system. And eventually, when it gets more surface space, it will do just that. That's why I keep the glass so clean, guys. I keep the glass clean because I'm not allowing the glass to be an area where that can build up. That way the concentration and the focus is on where it needs to be to pull those nutrients out and to keep the bacteria focused in those areas. All right, so that's the whole emphasis of what's going on and how I'm trying to work this system. Over time, the corals continue to grow and grow and grow, and as they grow, they are out competing as well. So them and they're competing the bacteria as well. And so, you know, it's a win-win situation if you look at it downstream. And most people get impatient. You know, right now I would literally be ripping out rocks, but I'm just going to let this system unfold and do its thing naturally. And look, I'm not doing a whole lot to it. I was joking with Matt the other day. The only thing I'm doing is just screwing with the lighting system too much. You know, going from T5s to LED, from LED to T5s. And I finally have just said, you know what? The LED unit is perfectly designed for this tank. It's the right amount of energy for this tank. I can have full on coverage, every square inch perfectly covered in this tank, and I don't even have to run it 100%. So I'm running way less energy, less heat transfer, less water evaporating. You get the picture. So it's sort of a necessary on this system. Now, when I get into my other system down the road, I may make a different lighting choice. But I'm doing what I feel is necessary for the ecosystem, for the balance of the tank, not necessarily the corals, to keep everything in harmony, not just the corals themselves. And it's funny, my dog's name is Coral, and she just heard me say that and jumped down on the floor. Anyway, moving forward. So with respect to lighting, you know, I am back to the reef breeders, and I am pumping a pretty fair amount of white light at this point. And I'm going to be doing an updated lighting video soon, but bear with me. I'm working on this curve right here to create what I feel is absolutely the way the spectrum moves over the curve of sunrise to sunset. I spend a great deal of time in the sun. I'm a sun worshiper, sun gazing, actually spending time to look directly into the sun. And so with that being said, I understand the spectrum. I understand where it's at in midday and what that temperature feels like versus start of day and then on a descending day. And so understanding that curve and the up and down, I'm trying to do what I can to not only mimic that lighting curve, but I'm also looking to tap this tank into circadian rhythms, and that's going to be a whole nother video down the line as well, and how all of this ties into, you know, the up and down of the sun, and how this is, you know, built into the DNA of pretty much all living forms. So we can get into that down the line as well, but for now, that should just wrap up the system. Guys, it's real simple here. I don't do a lot. I am very emphatic about keeping clean glass. I always have been, and so I always will be, because again, that's less surface area for bacteria and things that might want to build, and that just helps me keep the focus on the reef. As well as having a desirable looking tank to look at. That's most importantly. So many times we get, you know, to the point where we're like, I don't really want to deal with it, so I'll let the algae build up so you can kind of take your eye off the ball, so to speak, and it justifies it. But I'll just tell you that if you can make the glass a very big part of your daily maintenance, you may be surprised at how clean your system becomes. So with that being said, testing, I haven't been testing out. Guys, I have gone within that period where we did the last video from, oh goodness, like 5 DKH, 5.1, all the way up to 11 something. Enough to where I did lose the smoothies, and I lost them because the concentration of trace minerals in the alpha reef, as the alkalinity raised, and you know, all of the subsequent dosing that is linear built into that solution raised as well, causing smoothies don't like a lot of these heavy metal dosing. So be really careful with, you know, if you're using these programs and putting in nickel, cobalt, molybdenum, zinc and things of this nature, or you're getting into copper sulfate and these things that pull the coral's tissue to a thinner state, you're getting really, really risky with that type of stuff. So when you're using a program where it's dosing automatically, that's where it can get problematic if things go offline. Not a good solution for a guy like me. Back to A and B. Why? Because if I screw up with A and B, it's only 2 things to worry about instead of a myriad of things to worry about. So anyways, nothing really was lost except for a couple little smoothies that were new to the system anyway. And so now everything seems to be thriving well despite the bubble algae. Where are my nutrients? I don't know, guys. If you want me to do a video next month or soon, rather, I'll do a video and I'll get into where they are, because I have no clue. I haven't tested in months, and I'm not using them as a barometer for what I'm going to do as far as reef keeping is concerned. I know the course, I know the plan, I stick to it, and wherever the nutrients fall, they fall. The algae tells me everything I need to know about what's going on in here. So with that being said, I am going to be a little bit better about testing alkalinity, calcium, and magnesium, keeping the minerals as stable as possible. And other than that, that wraps up this video. I believe there's not much else to talk about, and it's a little bit longer than I would prefer. So yeah, let's catch up soon. And listen, if anybody's interested in more knowledge, put down in the comments down below if you're interested in more of a deeper dive and maybe a how-to series on carbon and bacteria dosing. And as a community, we can bring minds together. Maybe Alan Vo will step in and some other guys that are into this stuff. And, we can all start to share a deeper perspective. There's a lot of guys out there that love reefing this way. And so I would really love to bring those folks in for discussion. All right. Y'all have a good day. Thank you.